Hey folks, so we're gonna do a little bit of a spirit talk this morning and everything. And I'm putting on my black lace for this. I have a reason for it. I wanna put it on for a reason, just to get that energy in here for a reason. Okay, and we'll talk about it. And no, I'm not trying to be dark and everything, but I'm trying to get you to face dark things. A little bit face dark thing. We all need to do that. And really, anybody who, especially spiritualist reader, various things. This is we all have to do that. Okay, but let's kind of talk about it, and we're going to talk about some things that sometimes can be a little unsettling and challenging. And this is a topic that is just coming up, and it looks like the Christians are getting a hold of it. Oh, they're just using. They love to use these things as an example. Okay, just like when Doreen Virtue had her conversion, she was clearly light worker. She was all into this stuff, right? And then she converted to some hardcore evangelical Christianity, not just being a Christian, hardcore. And she completely renounced the path, everything. And it wasn't as much just renounce the path, but then she said everything about it was evil. I've been fooled all these years, and tarot cards and oracle cards and angels were demons, and it got all confusing. And of course it got YouTube. So many of the readers. I actually I wasn't doing YouTubes at the time, but I do have a Doreen Virtue A to Z list if you want to check some of my input on that. But this is what we're going to talk about. And I want to try to find the original. Oh yeah, here comes all the spiritual and stuff. Trying to find the original article. Which one was it? And stuff. Hold on. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter because I believe it was a Twitter or an Instagram that she does. But here it is. Let's do this. This one is the post millennial. I'm going to try to avoid the Christian articles, but we're going to talk about them. So this is about someone. Oh, is it going to let me look at it? Kat Von D. She is a reality star, and she's a very popular tattoo artist. She kind of has this. She's been of the goth scene. She's a very interesting life. And now, and I'll include her picture in the thumbnail, of course. She's but very pretty popular. I didn't know necessarily who she was. I'm sure I've probably seen her before somewhere. But world-renowned tattoo artist Kat Von D is undergoing a spiritual awakening, and the reality star, who is known for her gothic style, has tossed out all items associated with occult practice. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. Catherine von Drachenberg, she's 40 now, says in an Instagram post, so it was Instagram, last Thursday, that she has thrown out all items associated with the macabre aesthetic, including books of witchcraft, as she no longer desires to invite these demonic that's what they're saying, into her family's home. I don't think she may have necessarily said that word. Here, and I've got the original quote. That's more important than what these guys say. I don't know if any of you have been going through changes in your lives right now, but in the last few years, I've come to some pretty meaningful realizations. Many of them are revolving around the fact I got a lot of things wrong in my past, is what she's saying. Today, I went through my entire library and threw out books that just don't align with who I am and who I want to be, Kat continued. I've always found beauty in the macabre, but at this point, I just had to ask myself, what is my relationship with the content? And the truth is, I just don't want to invite any of these things into our family's lives, even if it comes disguised in beautiful covers collecting dust on my shelves. Kat Von D, who owns a wildly successful makeup line, KVD Beauty. I believe this might be with Sephora. She may have a connection unless she's got her own thing now. I know she's had some things with them, which includes macabre style packaging, lipstick shades called witches. Went on to explain that the reason for the drastic shift is because she is undergoing a spiritual battle. In no way is this post, and I do appreciate she says this, okay? This is a little different than Doreen Virtue. In no way is this post designed to put anyone down if you're into this stuff, because I think we are all on our own journey, and I love that everyone, regardless of where they might be at, and I love everyone where they might be at, but right now it's never been more clear to me that there is a spiritual battle taking place, and I want to surround myself and my family with love and light, the LA Inc. Alum wrote. Yeah, with that being said, I want to send extra love to everyone out there, and I hope through some of these trying times, you are making meaningful changes in your life too. Thanks for listening. I feel, now I know, there may be some, like the one TikTok I saw of a young lady, and she was, she's a tarot reader, a younger tarot reader, and I know some people that, because she also, there's things about tarot. She has kind of a tarot collection, especially of tattoos, and there might have been a tarot makeup collection, and some of it is like a photo also includes tarot. Is kind of mixed in there, magic books, and some people, are kind of, it's definitely got a conversation going. Let's put it that way. There are, it's already on the Christian Broadcast Network, the CBN, the website, and that's with especially Pat Robinson and everything, those guys, the 700 Club type people, that's, they're talking about it. There's some YouTubes from Christians talking about it. And of course, they're kind of holding this up like, hey, she's converting. She's converting. She didn't necessarily say she's converting to Christianity here. Okay. She didn't necessarily say that, but they're jumping on it. Okay. She's just kind of saying, I'm getting rid of some of this stuff. Okay. So sometimes, even though the Christians are jumping on it, she didn't necessarily say she's doing that. She's not, she's just saying some of this I don't want to invite. So I kind of feel maybe some things have been happening. Obviously something has been happening of a spiritual nature that maybe she's like, maybe some of this stuff is, I've got a family, I'm 40, and maybe I've been kind of going the wrong road here. Okay, this is not something that is unusual to a lot of people who are spiritualists, who have worked in any kind of magic, tarot, or anything, to go through a moment like this. Okay, and stuff. And I was like, this is a great way to kind of sit here and do a spirit talk. I would love to talk about it. Okay, I would love to talk about this because I know it's getting some kind of discussion and things like that. There's so much I would love to unpack on there and everything. Let me get a sip of coffee. I'm waking up. Okay. But yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna put some black lace on for this. I just to get that energy, just get people to face the fizz. But you got to understand, the Kat Von D is very different than when Doreen Virtue renounces. Doreen Virtue was completely different from Kat Von D. I mean, she was up here as a spiritual teacher, a spiritualist of the light, a light worker, energy, working with angels. Kat Von D is completely different. Okay, she's been, tattoo artist, very, very talented. Okay, this is very well renowned, and everything. But she was into more, kind of the gothic, macabre nature, art. And even her wedding, if you go on and look at her wedding, this was some, I mean, even I would, the energy, okay, she was dressed in all red. It was all a red and black wedding, red lighting, red lights. There was even an upside down cross, okay, which a lot of that is part of the Gothic, can be part of the Gothic nature, to have these upside down crosses and various things. Okay, this is a little different, okay, kind of energy there. So I can understand, that, if you're kind of going into these kind of areas, okay, that you could bring in. So she may have kind of brought in some energies that were not good, and I could completely understand why she may have had a spooky moment, something happened there, and then she's gonna be like, nope, let me just get this out. I've been doing this, maybe this is not for me. Okay, something's going on. But her parents, she does come from Mexico, very little place. Her parents were Christian missionaries. They're very, this was her upbringing. But even just kind of further growing up, this is kind of what she went into, and I believe even some of the tattoo even started even at 16 years old. So she kind of, became her own thing. And, and I'm not sure how the parents, I don't know those deep conversations they had at the table, especially around the holidays about, her life and her lifestyle and what she was going into. But, apparently, I've seen pictures of her and her family. And apparently they do love her. It looks like they love her and accept her. But like I said, that even though the Christians are grabbing onto this story here, She hasn't said she's gone the Christian path. I'm not saying she hasn't, but she has not necessarily said that is her. But she's just doing away with some things that she feels are kind of not, she doesn't want to invite. I want to be very careful with words. She's not necessarily calling anything evil, but there's just some things I'm having a spiritual battle, and I don't want to invite these things, in my thing. Okay. So, I can, and it's, like I said, it's opening some discussions with people, and then here we go, people talking about tarot and talking about, witchcraft and all that stuff. I want to go ahead and say, let's just put something on the record. I don't care what path it is, even, yes, Christianity, all paths have a light and dark element to them, to pretty much to a degree and stuff. All paths have a light and dark energy to them. Okay, it doesn't matter. And one of the things, with spiritualists, if they're going to be, let's put it this way, if they're going to be kind of well-rounded, kind of balanced, you got to know both. You got to know and understand both. This is, just like the spiritualist may do shadow work. The spirit, kind of look into areas, facing fears on certain things. But we got to kind of know and understand both. But of course, do we, as a spiritualist, want to stay in the light? Stay in the light, especially of truth, of spirit, of that high energy. Absolutely, absolutely. But we have to also understand, certain things. It's kind of, it's kind of one of the things that we have to do. So I know, some knowledge that I kind of had to have also going into that as well. But this thing that she has kind of done, I did it once before myself. I did. There was a period many, many, many years ago, okay, that it wasn't necessarily that I was scared or things. There were certain things in my life that I was like, I just need to walk away. I need to walk away from all this, like this, the spiritual stuff, divination, the magic books, all that stuff. I did go through a period. This is way back. God, what would this be now? I mean, this is way early, on the path after my spiritual awakening. Okay, so this is somewhere in there. I don't even know how many years ago it is at this point and stuff. Probably early 2000s, way early 2000s. I know it's somewhere in there. And I took my tarot. I didn't have the collection I do now. It wasn't this big. And I had some magic book. I had the Golden Dawn. I had all that stuff, okay? The Tree of Life, Israel Regardia. I had all that stuff, okay? And I took them all pretty much and chucked them myself too. I'm not going to lie, I did that. I did it. So, see, when I read her kind of situation, I completely understand, her making this move and doing what she did. I went through kind of a period like that. Should I be even on this path? And I think I just want to kind of break from it and everything. There was just, it really wasn't even that I was looking at anything evil or question, not totally, but I just didn't want to be a part of this kind of weird magical stuff. Okay, now this is before I also got into the Carlos Castaneda path, the Toltec path. This is before I found all that and stuff, which is a little bit more my speed, which is a little more my path now. I'm not a witch. I really don't consider myself one. Do I know about magical things? Yes. Can I? Yes. But I do not consider myself that. I just don't. I don't take that label. But you know what? If somebody at the same time, if certain Christians wanted to persecute me and do this and that, then I'll take the label and say, hell yeah, I will. Okay, let me just put it that way. I will do that. Okay, because in a sense that we get tired of that. This whole thing, label this, label that. They have their dark side. That's part of their dark side. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. But like I said, I don't necessarily consider myself that. Except that's why I humor myself wearing black lace right now. Okay. So anyway, I kind of went through that period. I just chucked them all. Like I said, my Golden Dawn, and I was studying all that and everything. I knew, though it's, like I said, for, some spiritualists, sometimes it's good to know it. And I'm glad I know it. It's still sometimes good to know magical things. It's just the way it is. It's knowledge is power. That's the way it is. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so anyway, this is what happened. So I'm kind of, one of the things I was doing around that time, I was kind of trying to work it out with the father of my kids. I had thrown him out. He had cheated in past. We had been broke up for a few years, and then we tried to do it again. And of course, kind of going in there, I realized, nope, he does not have the best intentions to change here. I see this. You know how it is. You know how that happens. But one of the things, I was just getting back to work. I had been home with the littles, with the kids. I will give him credit on one thing. When I was home with the kids, he did support the kids, pay child support, so I could stay home with kids. I will give the man credit. God rest his soul. He is passed now. That he did do that. Before he got another. It's a long story. No point in going the drama. Let's get to this stuff. But this is what happened. So I went to this one job, and I was there for almost 4 years. Got to know some people and everything. So just so you know, I no tarot cards, no magic books. I was pretty much, renounced to the path. It was kind of a gap in employment, you could say, as a spiritualist. Let's put it that way. I wasn't sure exactly where I was at the moment, but I was kind of shedding a lot of things. Even I wasn't even online at the moment. I was just like, I'm going to stay offline. I don't want to talk to any spiritual people. I was just kind of taking a break. I wasn't sure what I wanted at the moment, but I know how spirit is. Okay. I know spirit. So I go in and I meet people and I'm working with people. And there was this one young lady. She might have came a few months later, not very much later. And her name was Tara. And it's kind of funny, her name being Tara, because, when we think of the Buddhist Tara. But she was a pagan. She was a pagan. And a sweet girl. And so she was kind of talking about her path, one day. And she was talking about how she really liked tarot. And I was like, oh, I know, tarot. I know how to read it and everything. Just kind of subtle, basic conversation. So this is what she does. She goes, oh, wow, you know what we should do? We should exchange deck. I'll buy a deck, you buy a deck, and we'll swap them. And I'm like, and I don't know what did it, but I said, okay. I don't know why. Now, remember, Amazon was just kind of beginning at this time. I don't think I ordered on Amazon, though. Amazon, I live for it nowadays. So, it's ridiculous. This is such a part of my life. But anyway, so, I went to, I think it might have been Borders in Arizona. There's a huge bookstore, real fun bookstore. It was like a Hastings in Tri-Cities. And I found her a deck. I don't even remember which one, but I still have the deck she gave me. I still have it. I never use it. It's a Celtic deck. Now, the reason why I don't use it, but I will always keep it in my collection. Cat had to jump up right here, but my face, thanks. But the reason why I don't use it is because the swords and the wands are reversed in element. So sometimes when you sit there and you read it, you got to switch it in your mind. The reason why is because in magical circles, swords are fire and wands are air. Okay. Which I don't know if I know some magical people will know that. Some basic tarot readers may not. But that is kind of in the magical, wands, air, swords are the element fire. So then if I read it, I have to switch in my mind. Okay, so that's one of the reasons I don't necessarily use it, but I keep it as a keepsake. It was a gift. But I did do it still, and I was able to do that in process. And then people at work wanted readings. That's kind of what happened. So I started doing readings, and then they wanted like looking at their charts, and I would read astrology charts, and I also knew I Ching and stuff. So I'm sitting there and I'm doing these things. But I started having dreams about people I worked with. Okay, this also started happening. There was a young lady, I remember her name was Maria. She had come in, she was joining us, she was sweet and everything. And she, various things. I really liked her, but there was something happening. And I remember one day, we would talk about a little bit spiritual things, but one night I had a real, crazy dream about her. I saw her, she was all like dressed like kind of light. She had this kind of white dress on, and the back was cut out, and I could clearly see a dragon on her back. this dragon tattoo, and she just looked so powerful, in this image. It was, really beautiful. And um and so anyway, now she come in, she was just kind of I think she was like a shift manager at the point. But I felt like this was saying she was going to move up in the company here and stuff, with the job. So, when I went to work, I said, Maria, I got to tell you about something, because I really felt I needed, this is one of those, you have a dream and you gotta tell it, or it's gonna bug you. And so I told her about the dream, and I said, I feel something's gonna happen here, that something's going to happen. I don't know how it is, but that you're going to get promoted or go up in power. But this is a very powerful dream. You have a dragon on your back. You have this, that. There's something. I feel like somehow you're going to move up in the company. I don't know what it is. Within about a week, I'm not kidding. Within a week, the young lady who was an assistant manager, she had a falling out with her husband. She caught her husband cheating, all this stuff, and she pretty much announced she was going to move up north, in the state and everything, go be with her family, that she was leaving. Put in her notice. And then I remember seeing the boss, and she's all kind of frazzled, and she grabs Maria and she goes out front, and I could see him talking outside. And I'm like, I know she's offering her position to be her assistant. And she ended up, yes, getting the assistant position. So she did, even though it like seemed unlikely. I mean, this girl's in this position, but here it was, right there and stuff. So a little bit later, one day, I don't know what it was. It was Maria never told me this. Okay, so we were kind of standing there at work. There's all the couple going on, the customers coming in, and all that stuff. Everybody's doing their thing. And I noticed she had her hair up a little bit, and on the back of her neck, I noticed some, it looked like maybe Chinese writing. And so I was looking at her neck, and I kind of tapped her, and I said, Maria, I never noticed that tattoo on your neck. And then she's like, yeah. She kind of looks at me nervous, and I look at her and I go, do you have a dragon tattoo on your back? And she said yes. And I said, why didn't you tell me? And she's like, because you kind of scared me. And they would, and she was obviously Spanish, and so was the manager. And so they would call me Bruja. Which is, a word for kind of witch and stuff. So that was kind of some of my beginnings. But what I kind of realized with these weird kind of experiences that I started having at this job, I realized Spirit wanted me back in. This is who I am. This is just the way it is. This is who I am. This is the way it is. And I remember even doing kind of a read for somebody. There was a guy who worked there, and I remember just sitting there and I was just reading tarot. And they let us do this. Okay, this was a different chill place. Okay, this is something I of course could not do on my job now. But, I was reading his cards, and I'm talking about, a past relationship. We were going through it. I feel he really loved this person, this and that. And I just started talking. And this guy's, his eyes are just welling up with tears. And that was another thing that I realized, kind of getting him to a healing place, that this is what I meant to do. So I went back in, and I've been on it since. I kind of went back. I connected with some people. I ended up finding my soul tribe. Went through a big thing, but I realized this is who I am. So that's kind of how I fell back in. That's a little my story, and stuff. A little bit of my story. But I do, and that's why I wanted to kind of say that I do understand why Kat kind of went through it, kind of walking away. But did I go get my Golden Dawn books and stock up on all that? No, not really. But I did start getting the tarot decks going. Yes, I did. But I did go a different little bit of an avenue, more of a shamanistic kind of journey path. Is a little bit more the angle that I took. Not necessarily, like getting all this magic and everything. I really have no desire to be a high priestess or magus. That's not really, what I'm aiming for here. And really getting more, of course, on healing path, and be productive, be of service to spirit, and just even through my own journey and process and knowing the spirit. But this is one thing that bothers me sometimes. And this is one of the big things. And I feel why there can be a lot of spiritualists who get frustrated, with these claims and stuff. Just like tarot readers, healers, and various that have been working with people for years, who have helped clients for years, who have done things and seen positives and stuff. That have been putting some kind of good into the world, and have seen even, clients that they've worked with change, transform, get into healing mode, get into better places, and all that stuff. It's just like, this is one of the things that I say about what does Jesus say? If I want to go to Jesus, a good tree bears good fruit, and a bad tree bears bad fruit. That is about as simple as it should be for anyone on any path, no matter what it is. Okay? Because there are a lot of Christians who are bearing some bad fruit, folks. Okay? Just because somebody takes on a Christian label does not make them a good person. And this is what I wish people would understand. Because I could go on YouTube right now and show you all kinds of televangelists right now, all kinds, and not all of them are on TV, but maybe they got YouTubes and they're preaching all kinds of hate and they're preaching all kinds of ugliness. Okay, and I could even go into the Bible and show you some meaty God stuff that would curl you up here and make you cringe. Scary things that the meaty God does. That that maybe when you connect with the goddess, there's a lot kinder. Okay, that there's some harsh things in there that are like, what, why would you want to worship that meaty God, which I just kind of feel that Jesus is very, maybe people were believing in a meanie God, and Jesus was trying to show people, no, there's another type of spirit that's a little gentler, that's a little more accurate, that this is your man's interpretation is not necessarily the Father, kind of. This is just something I feel, just he had a way of doing, going about it and stuff. Maybe he was trying to show the embodiment of the Spirit through himself, okay, much kinder, gentler. But especially, when, these, like I said, these preachers and the way they can be, especially when they get real political, they let the political creep in, it corrupts. Okay, if you're, various things. And it was kind of a spirit message that came to me. I was just kind of sitting there, just kind of chilling tonight. And I actually got a message from the Spirit. And I'm trying to get the right exact words. I was a little tired, but this is what I kind of got. And, because I know some people, how they feel about Trump. And a lot of people look at Trump as this, kind of sinister character and stuff. But Spirit kind of made a point with me that was like, Trump is not as bad of, like, say, a person character. I'm not sure exactly how worded, but something, as the people that are trying to elevate him. And then I kind of sat there and I was like, you know what? The Spirit has a very good point. That, if I just look at Trump, I'm not trying to get all political. Please don't slam me, Trump supporters, but it's true. If I just kind of look at Trump, the character, and I've read him many times, especially, covering, when I covered the election, I told you guys Biden would win. I told you guys, it was like in July he was going to dispute the election. I told you guys, that wasn't even a very long read. I kind of sat with him maybe 10, 15 minutes. I told you he was going to dispute the election. He was going to go to court. I told you it was going to happen. Okay, I told you he wasn't going to win, and he was going to dispute it. There was going to be court cases. Did I know there was going to be a whole lot of crazy people at the Capitol? I didn't necessarily see all that. I'm not going to claim that. But I knew there'd be a lot of upset people. Okay. So, but this is what I kind of sat down with it, kind of meditated on it and everything. I was a little tired at the moment, but I'm like, no, Spirit does have a point. He's kind of like a bumbling goof, when I kind of think of him. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed. He really is not. He's not that sharp. And, he really got, it's kind of like they've kind of characterized him as a certain person that maybe is not necessarily the real him. Not necessarily. We know he's very narcissistic. He's very into himself. He can't handle defeat. We understand that. And don't worry, I'm not saying he's a good guy, But what I'm saying is the people that are trying to elevate him are really kind of using him. They see this kind of, he's ripe for our agenda. We can use this dude, to get in there, okay, and do what we want. And he'll do what we say, because he likes the popularity, the votes, and all that stuff. He'll do whatever we want. He doesn't, do you think he was really, really thinking about the consequences? Totally, of putting these people on Supreme Court. He just, whatever people support me, vote for me, this, that, I'll just do what they want. And stuff. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed. So I kind of thought about it. That kind of makes sense. Maybe he's not as much the king as he is maybe a pawn for something else's agenda. And so I kind of thought about that. I'm like, what, that does make sense. He's not a smart person. Not as smart, not a bright, intelligent, kind of, person maybe necessarily seeing the bigger picture of everything. But these people that are just put him in there, it's more about, it's the ones that are trying to get him there, especially like these radicalized people. Those are the ones you want to worry about. And so I kind of thought about that, and I'm like, what? Spirit's never wrong. It's got to be a point. There's got to be a point here. Maybe he is not as sinister as those who want to get him there. Okay, and use him so they can get what they want out of him. Okay, so I kind of thought about it. I'm like, I have to agree with that. No, I don't like the dude. I think, but when I look at him, he's kind of a doof. He's not a very smart person. This is somebody who stared into an eclipse when everybody says don't. This is somebody who stares into an eclipse. He's not smart. Okay, and stuff. The various things he has said and done. And I thought about that, and I'm like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. But there are people that are real smarter and real methodical and got agendas and everything, and they want him in there, okay, so they can basically, take freedoms and do this and just have a little bit of an elite kind of really being in charge. Okay, so he is really a puppet. He's really a puppet. But anyway, I don't want to get, let me get back to the magical stuff. I just want to get to that. But what I'm kind of saying that, I look at more of that kind of stuff. It's just, the dark kind of thing. Except who is spirit? Who is spirit? Who are people making their God? Okay, when it comes to certain things, when we kind of look at things like good or evil and things, yeah, and that's why, just very simple, a good tree bears good fruit, a bad tree bears bad fruit. That's all you need to know, about really a person and everything. Now, I know, when we talk about spiritual past, there are all kinds of weird cults in this, but you notice most of the weird cults, I'm not saying all, but a lot of them are Christian. A lot of these really scary, cults that have happened over time have had a Christian element. That, and people are worried about, these, like I said, these magical people doing magic and golden dawns. I'm more worried about them. Way back when I was a kid, I remember watching the Jim Jones Massacre on TV. And that had a Christian element to it, right? Except this dude, obviously was very dark. I knew as a child he was dark and stuff, and then, we've had various kind of weird cult things over time, that are connected, to some kind of weird, especially crazy, Christianity. So people could all say, oh, witches, witchcraft, tarot and stuff, but I could sit there and say, well, look at this stuff. Look at these weird things, these people, these radical. What about the Waco? The guy there and everything. And I mean, there's so much kind of radical stuff. Look at the preachers and the YouTubers all over YouTube that are preaching hate and stuff. There's some evil stuff they say. There's a dude that has been shown a lot on TikTok and been talked about a lot about unaliving homosexuals. I mean, unaliving. He's like, line them up and shoot them. You think that's a loving God? And this is supposed to be a Christian? Okay. And then you want to say, oh, because somebody works with a pentagram or tarot, that they're a real problem. That's what you got to be worried about there. Come on, guys. Let's not even go there. Let's not even go there when people are preaching all kinds of stuff, or talking about women, in horrible ways. or they're calling out and accusing witches of people that aren't even practicing magic, and like that Greg Locke guy. There's so much corruption out there that it's not even funny. And I know I want to be careful. Not all Christians are like this. Not all Christians are hateful like this. I understand, it's they're getting a lot of voice out there, aren't they? They're getting a lot of voice. They're getting a lot of attention, and they do seem to be growing in number. And I wonder why. Okay, so we can all sit there. Like I said, they can sit there and take Kat Von D and make article after article and stuff. She didn't claim she's gonna go to Christianity. Okay, she didn't say she's going to church. She just said, I'm going to get some of this stuff. This isn't for me. I'm in the middle of a spiritual battle. Okay, and just because, her, whatever her going into the light, because she looks like she wants a path of light and love, is what she said, may not necessarily involve what they want to be involved and everything. That's just the way it is. Except now, but yes, if I use that simple example, good tree bears good fruit, bad tree bears bad fruit. Is a person a spiritualist? Are they putting good in the world? Are they helping in some way? Are they helping others heal? And just like say if I took two churches right here, say I've got a church, say people tithe, they do stuff, and they're putting help into the community, they're helping others. Just like, one of the members I talked about who came, they got help from a church to pay their electric bill, their light bill. They got a donation. Good. Are there organizations? Are they feeding the hungry? Are they clothing people? Or are there churches that are just, taking in all the money, and the preacher has got these real nice cars and this mansion and everything? Okay, so it's just a good tree bears good fruit, a bad tree bears bad fruit. I'll say it. I'm waking up. I'll say it. I'm waking up here. And that's really what it boils down to. It's the same if I just take it all the element. When it comes to a magical, path or community, it's the same thing. It is the same thing. When people are working with any kind of magic, are they using it for healing purposes, to help, for positive, or are they going into negative? It can be used either way. It's the same thing, just like Christianity, light, dark. It doesn't matter. I could go to India right now. There's, like Hindu gods and stuff. I can be working in positive ways or doing negative things. Just, like voodoo, same thing. There could be positive, healing, helpful, negative. It doesn't matter, what it is and stuff. It just comes down to those two trees and the fruit and everything. So, it's kind of it's an interesting thing. But like I said, the way she handled it was much different than Doreen Virtue. Doreen Virtue, I feel, I don't want to beat up the woman. I really don't. I understand everybody has their own path and their own cross to bear and everything. She's going through, this is her internal process. But then to spread it, she's handling much different than Kat Von D, who I feel is handling it very classy and taking it interpersonal and saying, hey, I'm not talking about you or judging you. This is just me. This is my thing. Okay, everybody, I love you anyway. Okay, I love the fact that she did it this way. Doreen Virtue did not necessarily do that. She's like, nope, all this is bad. You work with it, yeah, of the devil. And all these people are sitting here, all these spiritualists, especially that are coming into their own, and they're really confused, a lot of people. And then there were those that were not confused. And they're like, just kind of like me, I know who the Spirit is. I understand it. And stuff. And I'm not worshiping no devil by proxy. Fuck that. Okay, that is not happening. And stuff. So that's just ridiculous. And, really, if we look at, one of the things they like to use all the time, the Christians, Satan posing as an angel of light. The angels in light are those televangelists, are those crazy evangelicals who are saying they're of God, but they're talking about hurting people, okay, and things like that. They're clearly saying things, and they are also hurting people by saying, maybe that God is going to send them to hell, because of who they are, and various things. They are the ones that are posing as angels of light. That's the ones, really, that Jesus is talking about. And it just, or even, kind of getting on there and getting all this political stuff and talking about keeping out immigrants, that immigrants are bad. But isn't that so different that Jesus would be like, bring in the hypocrites, let's feed them, let's clothe them. This is what Jesus would do. And they're like saying, no, keep them out, you know. And it's like, what? And you're trying, that is not Christian at all, you know, to be like that. And there's definitely, and obviously, you know, the racism, you know, there's so much, you know, the way it is, that is so not Jesus. And everything. And a lot of that is even demonstrated when he goes over to Samaria and he converses with the Samaritan woman. You know, like the people of Israel, the Samaritans, they were at odds. You know, he just goes over there and he's, you know, just hanging out and everything. So, you know, there's so much there. There's so much to pack. And I know the majority of you guys, when you see that and everything, you know better. You know better. So a lot of times, you know, but do people go through spiritual battles? You know, kind of, you know, absolutely, you could go through that. You could, or can you feel like certain things try to pull you away? All kinds of stuff, or pull you in a different direction. Everybody has to face the adversary. Let's put it that. I was just talking to somebody when we were talking about kind of spiritual stuff, and they were kind of feeling, you know, that sometimes when they're trying to, you know, evolve, ascend spiritually, connect with spirit, this is their aim and everything, but they feel like sometimes things get in the way. And I said, yes, that is a real thing. We all have to face the adversary. It's not about all this weird devil stuff going to hell, but everybody has an adversary they got to face. You know, and how that will be defined for you, you will know when you have that kind of one-on-one moment. Buddha did with Mara, Jesus did with Satan when he went to the mountain and did his fasting. Okay, we all have to face an adversary, you know, and stuff. So who is your adversary going to be? You know, that's kind of one of your spiritual things that you got to know. You know, it's just like the Sun Tzu art of war. If you know the enemy and you know yourself, you need not fear the results of 1,000 battles. Something like that. Something like that. But, you know, that's one of the things. You got to know yourself and you got to know your adversary. You know, what really, really is your adversary? And that's just one of the things that you got to learn on the spiritual path. But yeah, so when you kind of see this, you know, and I know they're trying to, oh, look, she converted to Christianity. She didn't say she converted to Christianity. I'm not saying she won't. Maybe she will go back to her roots. Maybe she will, you know, who knows where Kat Von D's path is going to lead. You know, but just because she says, I'm going to get rid of some of this magical tarot, that's for her. That's her own interpersonal thing. And like I said, I went through a period like that myself, where she kind of comes out when she kind of goes through this moment. Maybe she had a scary experience. Maybe, you know, but she was also, like I said, she was, you know, she kind of, you know, in an area of the spirit, which I know very well exists, but you do want to be kind of careful. You want to be kind of careful of it, and things. And I know it can be very popular. You know, people kind of, you know, embracing the dark. I know, like when they have the gothic or I guess back in the days, the emo. This is a little, you know, past my time. You know, various things that people can be kind of drawn to. You know, you go through a kind of a period of that. A lot of young people go through a period of that, and then after they've kind of, you know, grow and evolve, they may evolve past those things. Everybody's a little different. Everybody's path is an individual, unique experience. Just like I had my own kind of unique experience. I went through, let me get rid of all, I did the same thing, guys. And then certain things kind of, spirit's like, wait a minute. Okay. You know, and just, you know, are you helping people? Are you putting out good fruit? That's the goal. That's the aim that we want to do. You know, that hopefully we can do it in a positive manner. So, but yeah, so when you kind of see, you know, certain people, you know, maybe they're kind of doing this or making certain choices, just still, you know, are you, and look at that, my phone just went 444. Look at that. My phone just went, as I was saying that, there's an angel number. Okay, perfect. As you're kind of you know, coming up here, you know, and kind of going through your stuff, try not to fear. This is one of the things I try to say to you guys, because I know there are people that, especially the Christians, who really want to confuse you, maybe so you'll run to church scared. Spirit is not trying to make it hard to connect with you or anyone. And what I say is of the spirit of light, of love, all that. Spirit is not trying to make it hard or difficult to connect with others. Spirit is not trying to make it hard or difficult to show you a little bit of who they are and what they're about. They're really not trying to make it difficult. Okay, it's others that make it difficult. trying to define, the spirit, God, and all that. Okay, they're the ones who are making it difficult. So, as far as, connecting with something that you feel is light, and then everybody says, no, it's dark, it's dark, except don't let them confuse you. Are you healing? Are you feeling love in a loving presence? Are you doing good things? Are you helping others? Is it helping you? Are you feeling uplifted? Are you feeling better? Like, say if you've been depressed, and you're getting much to a happier place, are you doing well in life? Is your family good around you? Everybody doing good? Whatever it may be, are you getting to a place of peace? Just certain things that are evidence of spirit, especially about light, will be good things, and things like that. So, it just that's one of the things I try to make clear. Spirit is not trying to make it hard to be known. I said, but like I said, I could easily right now, I could pull up so many scriptures that would blow your mind what meaning God does in the Old Testament. Calling for, the taking over of a land, and capturing the women, and, and the being women, and just like when we go to, what is the story, Sodom and Gomorrah? Somebody was kind of talking about the story. We kind of have, what is it, Lot? I believe it's Lot, whatever, what is it? Yeah, it's got to be. And what the angels come, to his door, right? And there's this mob. Okay, think about this. This is kind of a terrible story. A whole mob is coming because they want to kind of violate the angels. The angels, he's kind of trying to take in the angels, give them some kind of shelter. But this whole mob of these crazy people in Sodom and Gomorrah, they want to violate the angels. And I guess this is where some people get the weird, but this is just supposed to be a weird, filthy, kind of corrupt kind of place. Okay, these people are crazy, and they want to hurt these angels. So what does he do? He's like, no, don't hurt the angels. Take my daughters instead. I don't mean to laugh. It's horrible. Okay, here, take my daughters and violate them instead. This is meanie God stuff. Okay? And you want to talk about, like my tarot and everything, and my spirit and stuff. I'm telling you, my spirit, if somebody comes to my door, I mean, see some angels in there. It's like, angels, you better get those people away from my door, because I'm not giving up my daughter. Okay, I'm not throwing her to the wolves there. You better figure something out. You're powerful. You're angels. Get rid of them. Okay, you're big, powerful angels. This is what I would say. You're big, powerful angels. Obviously they took down Sodom and Gomorrah. Why do I need to offer up my daughters and throw them to a crowd to be violated? Okay, and God knows what happens. Okay, come on, guys. Read some of this stuff. Some of this stuff in here is wacko. Okay, some of these stories are really horrible. Or even if I go to the story of Job, yeah, here, okay, we got meanie God, and we got Satan, right? And let's bet a wager. Let's bet a wager here. Okay, if Job is going to break his faith. Okay, guys. Okay, they're just going to have a little bet here. All right. I don't know what they exactly bet. What was really the wager? And of course, they put poor Job, who's a faithful guy, who's always faithful and loving. They kill his whole family. I think they took out his crops and everything, cover him with boils. Every horrible possible thing happens to him. He loses everything. And finally, there is this kind of he keeps his faith, and finally God, and stuff. So he apparently gets him another family with more kids and blesses him. But what about the family he killed? Why did this wager need to happen? Why did it even need to happen? Why do you kind of torture this poor guy who's a faithful guy? Meanie God stuff. Okay, and you want to talk about some tarot readers and people maybe practice a little magic and stuff like that. And stuff. There's some scary stuff in there. Okay, and see, that's why sometimes I kind of wonder, when Jesus comes, he has a little bit different perspective. Maybe he's got some issue with meeting God. Okay, and stuff. So it's you know, so these were clearly written by man. This is the way they saw the spirit. Okay, that's what it is. This is the way they saw the spirit. Okay, because especially this was the age of Aries, where things were such war and conflict, everybody fighting in dark and death, and it was just crazy. You know, this is the way, and I don't want to put down anyone's thing, but there's some scary stuff in there. Okay, some really scary stuff. So, but anyway, so when people kind of want to talk about these kind of pasts and everything, we'll look at this. You know, just like lots of take Madonnas, go ahead and violate them. Don't hurt the angels. Fucking, what is this shit? Okay, you know, and see, that's kind of things that even on my own path and my own spirituality, kind of coming into things and stuff, you know, just kind of learning and everything. It's like we need to look at these, you know, kind of critically. This is why a lot of people, like, the big thing, what they call it is deconstructing, you know, Christianity. A lot of people are like, why am I, you know, brainwashed to follow all this weird stuff? You know, that people are kind of breaking free of that, and but what they were really, they want to get to the truth in their own way. They need to break out on their own interpersonal journey, and I really feel that Jesus would be all supportive of that. Break out on your own interpersonal journey. Find your own way here. You got to get out there in the world and explore, you know, and find the spirit. But like I said, you know, my kind of message I want to give you guys, the spirit is really not trying to make it hard. Spirit is right there. They're not trying to make it difficult on you. It's other people that are trying to confuse you about spirit is. But if you get your eyes on the light, you will know who spirit is. But very interesting stuff. You know, so like I said, I got back into the game, and, you know, but any path can have a light and dark side. I guess is one message. Just like, really, you know, divination can be used in a light and dark way. It doesn't matter what it is. It's really, it's a tool. It's a tool. You know, when it comes down, it is. And stuff. It is. You know, but if you're channeling who is the spirit, you know, what you are connected to, that is one of the big things. And, you know, like I said, one of the key ways to really kind of navigate the world of spirit, so you do, you know, you stay in the light, you can put it, is to know yourself. I do hope this helps.